Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So today I've got another teardown video. We're going to do an inspection and disassembly on this Squier Strat SE. It's not branded SE anywhere. The history of these things is kind of somewhat documented. Essentially, this is a Strat Pack guitar and it's Chinese made. I think this one is a year 2000. The best thing about these guitars is that they have full thickness bodies. Otherwise, they're a little bit unremarkable, so I'm hoping to use this one for some parts in the future. But anyway, we'll get into this one and we'll see what's inside of it, what parts make it up, and we'll see if there's anything that I can use in a future project. So to start with, these guitars share quite a bit with the Stratocaster, and that's not surprising given that they really kind of serve the same purpose. They came in an entry-level package with an amplifier, they're both made in China, and they're really just really entry-level guitars. I think this one will probably find it has a solid body. It definitely has a full thickness body, and full thickness is usually determined by being 1 3/4 inches thick. We'll actually measure that because I bet it's not quite that, but it's closer than a Strat Affinity. Now, if you're looking for one of these guitars, there are some things that you can use to identify them. One of them is the pearloid pickguard. Now, this one is trashed, but it was originally a pearloid pickguard. Not a lot of Strats came with that at the base entry level, but the SE was one of them. Also, on the headstock, they say Squier Strat. They don't say Stratocaster, and they don't say Affinity. So there is a little bit of an identifier there. And then on the back side of the headstock, they have those 45-degree tuners. So they have screws in the tuners, and Affinities don't have that. And then on the back side, sometimes you'll see a pearloid tremolo cover as well. Now, not all of these came with pearloid pickguards, but all of them have the small headstock, the 45-degree tuners, the 3-layer pickguard, and a full thickness body. Well, if you haven't noticed from me picking this thing up and showing you already, this thing has seen better days. It's got all kinds of rust and things going on. These strings have got to go. There's a set of stickers that have been added along the neck here. And otherwise, we just need to check it and make sure everything functions. So I'm going to plug it in and see if it makes some noise first. So we'll go with the neck position first. Middle position, bridge position. So all the pickups make noise. Let's see if the volume control works. Yeah, that works fine, not scratchy. Let's try the tone for the neck. A little scratchy. And we'll try the tone for the middle. Definitely scratchy, so we've got some pots to clean, but other than that, the electronics seem to work. Now I've got this thing tuned to pitch, so let's go ahead and check the neck relief while we're here. Capo goes on the 1st fret, and I need a feeler gauge, and I'm using a 10/1000 feeler gauge. Fret the guitar at the 17th, check it at the 8th. It doesn't quite have enough neck relief, so what I'm going to do, I'll do this off camera, but I'm going to go ahead and take about a half a turn out of the truss rod with an Allen wrench and see where that leaves me, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, well, off camera I was able to get a 5mm truss rod wrench in there in the neck, and everything's working just fine. So now I'm going to go ahead and start to pull the strings off this guitar. They're rusty and I don't need to save this set, so I'm just going to loosen them from the headstock and then I'm just going to cut them off. Alright, well, this thing's nasty, so the next thing I'm going to do is give it a little bit of a cleaning. Okay, I think this thing is at least clean enough to handle now, so let's go ahead and take the pickguard off and we'll see what kind of electronics these have in them. Alright, I'm going to guess that these are ceramic bar magnets. Let's just find out. Wow, what a guess. Okay, so yeah, 3 single coils, ceramic bar magnets, mini pots, one of those PCB style switches, really tiny cap. I'm going to say, well, you know what? I don't know what value these pots are, so I don't know what value that cap would be. Let's see if I can read it from this side. Looks like it's a 0.047 cap. So these could be 500K pots. Hard to say. There is no body cavity shielding at all. It's just black paint. There's no grounding in here, and it looks like it's using grounded wire to go from this cavity to the jack itself. There is a bridge ground. Let's check out the jack itself. Yeah, really tiny jack, no lock washer, just 2 nuts. Okay, let's see if we can desolder this jack so we can start to take the pick guard out. We've also got to desolder the bridge ground. Then this whole assembly should come right out in one piece. I'm going to do a little bit more cleaning in here before we continue. So it looks like these pickups are going to be a little bit hot. The neck pickup is reading at 7K ohms. The middle pickup is 7.03. And the bridge pickup is 7.07, so a little bit hotter than a normal set of vintage style pickups. And I'll try to get a reading off these pots, but I don't want to take it apart all the way, so I'll go ahead and measure the tone controls. So yeah, this one does actually use 250K pots. Yeah, they measure a little bit low, but they are 250s. Okay, now I really don't need any more evidence that this is a Stratocaster body, because honestly it looks exactly like the cavities in a Stratocaster. One thing to note about this is that it does not have an HSS style route. It's really routed for 2 single coils plus a humbucker. So if you wanted to use a humbucker in one of these bodies, you'd have to route this out. It's also set up for a Strat neck, obviously, but the corners of the neck pocket are routed a little bit deeper. Some people call that a Mickey Mouse route. Let's take the neck off and see if we can get a clue as to whether the body is solid or not. Okay, yeah, I can tell just from looking down inside the holes for the neck that it's a solid body. It's not layered or plywood, and somebody has been in here clearancing a little bit, but this is definitely solid. All right, let's get a couple of measurements. So this neck pocket is almost 2 1/4. Depth of the pocket is just about 3/4, and let's see what the width is. The width of this body is 1.75 inches, which is exactly what I would expect. Let's go ahead and measure the neck. This nut measures 1.635 inches, which is a 42mm nut. And this heel measures 2.235 inches, which is about 57mm. So that's another feature of these things that we're working with. I think they've got a little bit wider neck at the heel, and they definitely have a wider neck at the nut than a Squier Affinity model, that is. There's one other feature about these that I like to point out, and it's kind of an identifying feature, but it's that they do not have a liner in the truss rod hole. That's not super unique. There are a lot of Strats that are not SEs that don't have a liner, but that is something that you can use to help identify these in conjunction with everything else. Well, the frets are in good shape. I'm just going to go ahead and start peeling these stickers. Okay, luckily these are vinyl stickers, and I think they're meant to come off easily because they are fret marker stickers. Okay, those luckily all came off with no damage. Now, as I said earlier, these are not the standard Affinity tuners, so they're not those 2-post screwless tuners. They do have a screw in the back at the 45-degree position, and they're Squier branded. So what else is remarkable about this body? Well, not much. I think the wood type is probably basswood. It's a really light colored wood, really tight grain, fairly light overall. The strap buttons are not normal Squier Affinity strap buttons. They're actually the shallow Stratocaster strap buttons. And it looks like the bridge is pretty standard Squier or Stratocaster. I really can't tell the difference in those, to be quite honest. Comes with the standard 3 springs setup on the claw. The block does look a little bit different. I don't know if that's visible, but if not, I'll get a still picture. It is not a full thickness block. Okay, well, there's not much left to take apart except for the bridge and the strap buttons. I'll take those apart off camera. So this was a quick episode, but I hope it was informative for you. And if you ever need parts, this is not a bad place to get a full thickness body, a 3-layer pick guard, a pretty nice set of tuners, and a few other miscellaneous parts. So thanks a lot for hanging out with me this episode. I appreciate all the likes and the comments you guys give me. I love the subscriptions. Be sure to check out my Amazon links, and I'll see you guys next time.